Welcome to the Finance Marketing Podcast, a show that empowers finance professionals to market their businesses in ways that feel good and actually achieve results. I'm your host, Hillary. I've been working with folks in financial services to develop marketing strategies that work and create results-oriented marketing content since 2020. And I've learned a lot about what works in finance marketing, what doesn't work, and where financial services pros get stuck. Join us each Friday as we explore real, effective ways to market your finance business and connect with folks who truly embody your ideal clients. This week, I am thrilled to introduce you to Pam Prior, who is a brilliant, down-to-earth finance wrangler who guides entrepreneurs to confident control of their money mindset and business cash flow. Now, Pam simplifies the essentials, helping entrepreneurs understand the key numbers that shape their business without any unnecessary jargon. Pam is also the host of the podcast Cash Flow with Pam Prior, and she's the author of her recently published book, Founder to Exit. Now, this conversation was my first time connecting with Pam, and she and I had a truly delightful time together. She brings this incredible mix of fun, high energy, while also having this really calm and reassuring presence. And basically, it made me feel like I could happily chat with her for hours on end. So Pam and I dove into some really valuable topics, including the power of authentic branding, even while using AI strategically in your marketing efforts. We talked about how to build meaningful relationships that drive business growth. And then we also circled back to AI and talked about using it in your marketing without losing that human touch. So this episode is packed with insights for anyone who wants to elevate their marketing by being both authentic and showing up as the human that they are, while also being very strategic and intentional about where they're showing up and where they're investing their energy. So you will walk away with actionable ideas on how to better connect with your audience and grow your business in a way that still feels true to who you are. So without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome to this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. I'm so excited to have Pam Prior joining me today. Pam, how are you?
I am great. Thank you. So glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. I would love to start if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do in the finance industry.
Come with you. So I own a business called Priorities Group, and we have a methodology called the Profit Concierge, which is how we take people through entrepreneurs of all sizes, literally from, just starting up with no money up through 8 figures, through getting their finances in order from wherever they are, right? And everybody has a different story about how they got where they are, and everybody thinks theirs is the worst and most embarrassing story. And we're here to kind of say, there's no judgment on that. And you were never taught how to do this. You've got a superpower that you are really good at, and let us get this in place for you so that you can make sure that you get the most value out of that superpower. So we're kind of the blank in your business that you never want to talk about, but you kind of have to. So I came out of corporate, though. I was in corporate for 30 years, starting at Fortune 5 companies, DuPont, Merck, Bristol Myers Squibb. And then after that, we worked in a couple of joint ventures. I realized I like working in smaller and smaller groups. And between a couple of jobs after I left big corporate and was working kind of in the 9-figure world, sort of private equity stuff, I did a couple of gigs with entrepreneurs, just kind of to fill the space and still have some money coming in. And I loved it. So I got my last real job because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, go be a CFO at a 9-figure company. And 2 months in, I was done. It was like, no, I've loved it my whole career, but I really like this other thing. And so I jumped ship. That was about 7 years ago. And I've been working with entrepreneurs ever since. I'm an author of 2 books. Right behind me here, one's called, what was the first one called? Your First CFO. And the second one is called Founder to Exit. And they're very parable-like written books so that people can follow it. It's basically the story of somebody who's in either starting a business or ready to scale or exit a business. So it's kind of like reading a story, but at the same time, you're going, oh, here's my checklist. And so I've really enjoyed those. I speak on stages. And my favorite thing still to do is to work one-on-one with entrepreneurs and make a difference in their business.
Oh, this is so great, Pam. You have such a wonderful, inspiring journey. And I want to ask you about your books in a few minutes here.
Sure.
Is there a particular type of entrepreneur or business that you like to work with, or will you kind of work with anyone?
So here's my type, entrepreneur, because all y'all are crazy,
Yeah.
right? And each one's their own individual kind of crazy. And that's what I love, is that variety. I thought, of course, like everybody, when I first started doing this, the messaging is niche down, niche down, niche down. And I realized that that wasn't the case here. So I have entrepreneurs or clients from health-based life coaches to somebody who just sold a barbecue business for 8 figures.
Mm.
So, and everything in between. And I love that, publishing, and an architect, and an architecture company. And I mean, I can't even think of all the different things. One of them makes bucket trucks for those
Oh,
lift trucks that like utility and tree guys go up and down in.
right.
So there is no niche for this, except entrepreneurs who've either been badly treated by finance people before,
Mm.
or really just don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
If you've got a good finance team, you don't need us. But if you're either embarrassed or scared or feel like you've done something wrong, we're the place to come, because you're going to know right out of the gate you didn't do anything wrong, and we're going to get it fixed for you. So that's the niche, is you really want a friend in the foxhole.
I love that. Just for context for my listeners, you
Mm-hmm.
and I were connected by a mutual friend of ours, Sarah Torpy. And as you were talking, I'm seeing Sarah, kind of in your story as well. Oh, this is why Pam and Sarah connect so well. You have
Oh
very
my gosh. Yes,
similar.
she is my coach, and I would not trade her for the world.
She's the
Every
best.
time, like now I'm in a cost cutting mode in my own business. Like we all go through this, right? The
Yep.
ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And for some reason we're afraid to talk about it. And I'm like, that is one of those things set in stone, that I am never getting rid of Sarah, ever.
Yep. Yep.
She's
I've
stuck with
had
me
coaches.
now.
Yeah. I've had coaches like that before too. They are worth their weight in
Yep.
gold.
Absolutely. She can come right at me with what I need to hear and still make me feel loved and cared for,
Right.
which is
Well, this was
awesome.
not meant to be a promotion for Sarah, but
Yeah.
Sarah
But
Torpy is an excellent business coach.
she is. She is indeed.
So, Pam, what I'd really love to dive into is what brand awareness means to you,
Hmm.
and what are the things that you have done, or some of the things that you have
Hmm.
done to really build awareness of your company and what you do. I'm assuming the books might play a part in that.
Hmm.
So, tell me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a few things. And interestingly, there's kind of a funny story here. When I first started and came out of corporate, of course, all of the advice I got from my corporate friends was, well, don't do this, you're an idiot. But outside of that was, oh, you have to use green, calm colors for your advertising and your marketing. And this is what finance is. Red is alarming, black is alarming, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll use green. And I'm going to come back to that story in a minute. And I came out, and I wrote my first book, which was Your First CFO. And this funny story behind that we never know where life's going to take us, is my mom was actually in the hospital with a broken femur.
Ooh.
She happily was completely drugged up and sound asleep. I was there at 2 a.m. going, now what do I do? And I
Mhm.
happened to listen to a podcast by Angela Lauria of the Difference Press. And she was talking about a different way to publish books that was still published, not quite self-published, but not the old,
Mm.
pay $500,000 to get on the New York Times bestseller listing. And I sent her an email at the link that podcast said to send an email. And I thought I'd get a robot answer back or whatever. She actually wrote me back at 2 a.m. in the morning and said, hey, I love the name of your business, how it goes with your name, and I'd love to chat with you. Do you want to talk tomorrow?
Mm.
It's like,
Wow.
wow. And then she said, like, why are you up at 2 a.m? And I told her, and we connected. And long story short, we got the book done, and I became her CFO. She was kind of my first official client.
Mm.
And then ultimately, to your question about what do I do to bring brand awareness, that book really became a calling card.
Mm.
So I'd take them with me and hand out. I'd refer people to Amazon. It got me some speaking gigs, needless to say.
Mm.
And then I'm a real big person about relationships.
Mm.
So I actually created this mind map, relationship map. You're on it now.
Mm.
And anybody that I've developed a meaningful relationship with is on this mind map. And it literally shows like at the end, if you're at the end of a line, which you are right now, it goes back from you to Sarah, Sarah to the group I met her in, to the person, and it's got this big exploded thing.
Wow.
So in that relationship map, I started talking about that. And I started talking about when I was in corporate, I knew things could be done the right way, and it had to do with people and talking to people and getting to know people better. And so that became kind of part of my brand. So fast forward, 3 or 4 years, the map is massive now. The book's out. I'm still in this green color. And I meet a guy named Steve Sims, and he does marketing. I'm like, oh, it's time for me to redo my webpage. And we had a couple conversations. He's like, Pam, why is your website green? I said, I don't know. He said, you don't seem like a green kind of quiet person. I said, you're right. I either like come into a room and command the crap out of it, or I trip in and fall flat on my face. It's red or black. And he went, that's your colors.
Wow. And you hadn't said, that
I did say it's red or black because they
Yeah.
happen to be two of my favorite colors.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's your brand.
Yeah.
And he went through and we rebranded everything in red and black. And all of a sudden I don't know if you're kind of a manifesting kind of person as well, but I really am. Like I felt that shift into who I really am.
Yeah.
And that, when I think about personal branding, having that brand represent you, and the word authentic is so freaking overused now. It makes me crazy. But aligned, I think, like I feel like these colors. That's kind of who I am. I can get into that. And that to me is what's so important in branding, especially in finance, where I think the reason people like this brand, this Pam brand, is that I'm a hard ass. I'm going to make you do the hard things, but I'm going to hold you as you go through it. And we're going to get there. And you have confidence we're going to get there. So that's kind of my little journey around brand. And I do stage work as well. I have a speaking coach who also not just coaches me with speaking, but also how to get stages and serve the audiences and the event planners and all of that so that they want to invite you back.
Oh, okay. Well, this is fascinating. And just for anyone who's listening, audio only, I just want to paint the picture of what I'm looking at right now. Your background wall is red and black and white, right? Lots of red and black and white. You're wearing red and black, and your books in the background are also red and black.
Yeah.
So you have I love it. And it's so cohesive, and you're right. It is you. 100%.
It's me. It's like, you should have seen it when it was green. I never liked it.
Yeah.
And it didn't occur to me, you have to like your brand and what it looks and feels like. It needs to be you.
Yeah. As you're talking too, I'm thinking of, different financial advisors. I know some who have a brand that I'm like, yep, that's their brand. I'll never forget it. And others who their financial advisors I really like. I have no idea what their brand colors are, even though I've been to their website a million times.
And like when I look at your picture here, it's like calming to me. And it's like green is a calming, peaceful color, and I love it. But you also are a person who helps me feel calm and centered. So, it really does matter.
I appreciate
how it makes you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is so important. And my brand color does include, I think, like a sage green. And that was also
I can see that.
Yeah, it was a very intentional choice for me. I told my designer, this feels like me. It's one,
Cool.
So yeah, I think it is
You
so
get
important.
me. You get this.
I
Yeah,
get
it's so
this.
important.
Yeah, it is so important. And then, I'm wearing a pink shirt right now, and I love a little pop of salmon every now.
Yep. And that goes great.
But
Well, what's really funny is if you look at the rest of this room, like this is the corner that's in the camera.
Yeah.
The whole rest of this room was my wife's meditation room, and it is sage green, exactly the same color you have on your wall. So I'm laughing as I'm talking about the red and black, and that's all you can see. And I'm looking at sage green. But anyway.
I love that. I love that so much. So what I would love to ask you about is, I've had a few conversations on this podcast about the power of writing a book for your business and how many doors that opens for you. And so you've mentioned, since writing the book, you were able to get more speaking opportunities, things like that. I'd love to ask you just some kind of tactical questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
What were some of the first initial stages that you found yourself on, and did you reach out to different events and things like that?
Great question. So go back to the relationship map, right? So first of all, the first thing about the book is I never wrote the book. Angela, who I worked with, was a great writing coach and publisher. And she said, Pam, we're not writing your book to sell books.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ever going to be, the one who makes $100,000, $200,000 from your book.
Right.
But you will make $100,000, $200,000, $1 million from your book.
Yeah.
She goes, it's all about what you do after you have the book. And truth about a book is you can launch your book as many times as you want to, right?
Mhm.
Nobody knows when it actually was finished and done. So, for example, the second book that we have, The Founder to Exit, officially it went on Amazon and it was published on a particular date in April. But we're going to do a relaunch in September. We're not going to call it a relaunch. We can call it a launch.
Yeah.
We're going to, if I have my dream, we're going to have another launch that's going to include Lee Asher, who is a dog rescue guy in Oregon. And we're going to do it at a local shelter. And I'll give away signed books there and just combine entrepreneurship and my love for dogs.
Yes.
We do here locally a weekly, actually bi-weekly, something we call Brews and Schmooze. And it all comes back to that mind map. I want to meet people. I want to get to know them, because then I can give them a copy of the book, have them go buy a copy of the book. And once they know me and read it, they can really connect with it. My thing is I never want to actually do sales.
Mm.
So the book lets me get closer to people, show them what I know how to do, so that by the time they call me, which in my business actually is usually like an 18-month runway, which is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but it is what it is. They need that time to know, love, and trust. And notice I said no love and trust.
Uh-huh.
Just know and trust, no like and trust. But
I love that.
But anyway, so it became an avenue for that. They could read the story and they could see, oh, this person doesn't judge me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way I got my very first stage, I went to an event, part manifestation, part relationship. I went to a stage, it was the Archangel Group but run by Giovanni Marsico in Toronto, because Angela, my publisher, had said, oh, you should go to this. And we're going to do some book stuff around it, so I'll get your name out there. And she introduced me to Gio. And when I got there, I said, I want to be on that stage. Mm. In my mind, I want to be on that stage. I mean, as sure as any of the things, I want to be a controller. I want the next promotion. I want to be on the stage. And I never questioned it. Mm. I was just going to be on that stage. And it wasn't free, right? I joined his mastermind and made a strategic investment in that group, which cost me not cheap, to be one of the people who got to be on his stage the next time effectively. I also got in a great mastermind. And in that, I met amazing people who, quite frankly, 10 relationships that literally are the foundation for my entire business.
Wow.
Being on that mastermind. But I also got that stage. And once I got that stage, if you give to the value of the audience, if you're there clearly to give value, then other people are going to go, oh, I want you on my podcast. I want you on my stage. Mm-hmm. Because I'm always going to say, hey, what does your audience really want to know? Mm-hmm. Do they want to know, do I need a checking account? Or do they want to know, what do I have to do if I want to sell my business? Mm-hmm. Let me hone in on that and do it in an entertaining way with no accounting jargon. And I think with me, that was such a unique thing out there in finance that it helped kind of start to propel things a little bit. But like everybody else, I still work hard for the stages. The biggest thing you can do is find the event planner, find the person who's doing that event, find out what's important to their people, refer in another speaker to them, get to know them, learn, instead of the old, here's a DM, let's go to bed. Let's get to know each other. And I may have some people that would serve your audience. And someday you're going to call me and say, hey, Pam, would you come do a workshop with my audience? We're going to do a live thing here. And I'll go, yeah, sure. That'd be great. And that's a win-win for everybody. So it's being aware of the relationships, being aware of the win-win, and being really aware of what you confidently bring to the table, that you do better than anybody else. And that, I think, combination has really helped. The interesting thing about me in stages is that I tell this joke because we were on that Archangel stage, and Angela, who's a marketing expert and publisher, was on before me. And she described marketing as, forgive me, lesbian sex, and said, long, drawn out, confusing, but man, what a finish, right? That was her ending line. And then I had to get up on that stage and talk about finance.
Oh my
God. So I didn't know what to do. So I climbed up on the stage and I went, I'm not sure how I follow that, from lesbian sex to finance, actual lesbian. I'm not sure even how to follow that. So what happens with you on stages is that we had breakout groups afterwards, right? And I'm like, I went and looked and her place was packed.
Yeah.
And nobody came to the finance breakout, right? But I knew the speech went well because people were really responsive and were taking notes. And then I realized what happened. From my walk back from the auditorium to my room, I was stopped by no less than 10 people who went, "Psst, Pam, can I talk to you?" And I realized that I got the nickname Hallway Pam because what I realized was this is stuff people really want to talk about, but they just haven't gotten over that fear or shame, mostly shame or fear. And so they're not going to come to a group thing to talk about their finance problem or opportunity. But I couldn't get back to my room that night because of 10 hallway conversations. So, and then those hallway conversations would lead to other events. So the other thing I'd say about stages is find people that are currently doing things and how you can help them now without asking a favor. Ask them how their event went, if it served their people. Get to know who their people are and why they're there, how you can help them get butts in seats. Those things endear you to the people who have to put these things on. Is number one. My coach, again, Steve Sims, who I work with, taught me, make friends with every single sponsor at the event. Bring them coffee. Just find out what they're about, learn about them. And they'll then talk to other people who run stages about you if you're a speaker on a stage and you take care of them. And it lets you do what I love to do best, which is interact with people.
Yeah.
So it's all like this massively aligned win-win, and it takes the work out of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said something that I have fully kind of integrated into my business and how I start relationships with people. You said earlier, the word authentic is totally overused. I feel the same way about the word networking. I hate that word.
Yes.
It's cold. It's the worst. So instead of using the word networking, I always try to use the term making friends, which is what you just said. I love to just make friends with other people. And to me, that feels less like I'm trying to get something out of the relationship,
Right.
but instead, how can this relationship be mutually beneficial, or how can I benefit you first? I also really love that you recognize it takes people about 18 months to really know, love, and trust you before they're ready to come to you. And it sounds like you have the same mindset when you are pursuing speaking events. You realize it takes a little bit of time, right, to
Absolutely.
I don't know if this is the right word, but to almost court those relationships before someone feels comfortable inviting you to be on their stage.
Correct. And they don't always take as long if you've been referred by other people, but it does help it go faster. And the way I kind of look at it is this is a journey. Life's a journey. So what do I want to do during life? I want to interact with people. And the cool thing is when that's how you approach it, with a strategic, kind of direction in mind, it's never transactional.
Right.
And you don't have to keep score. And the one thing I find that a lot of entrepreneurs fail at here, and I'm one of them, and Sarah's working with me on this, to be honest with you, is sometimes we will overgive, right? And not recognize and value what we do. So there has to be some boundary there where you recognize, hey, I have to charge for my services.
Yeah.
Not have to, I get to, because they're going to help you and it's going to be an investment. So I don't want to kind of give the impression that you just kind of give away the farm at all. It's really, you only want to hang with people and be in people's circles who want to give and take. And you got to remember it's okay to take. It's okay to have. And that's the hardest thing, especially for women, myself included.
Yeah.
Somebody just walks up and does me a favor. I'm like, I got to pay you. I got to give you a relationship. It's like all of a sudden I don't go into transactional when I'm trying to help them, but I do go into transactional mode when they try to help me.
Right.
And the thing to remember is that makes it less meaningful for the person trying to give something to you.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you bringing that up. So Pam, up to this point, we've really been talking about kind of how you can build your brand in a very human-centered way, right? And how you can just bring humanness to this concept of marketing. And another thing that I'm really excited to ask you about, especially with this perspective, is how you use and take advantage of things like AI to help you do more
Mhm.
with less. Which sounds like counterintuitive, right? You're a very
Well,
human first
not.
person, but it's not. So how do you integrate AI while, keeping that human first
Yeah.
center?
So I have a guy named Francis on my team, and I'm actually a partner with him in another business as well, called Forward Press Media. And he has taken hold of this AI thing with abandon, and probably honestly knows more than 90% of the population out there about how it all works. I know nothing about how it works. But he and I think what's really important is inside the company and with my brand, we have we're very clear on the culture and the messaging, which is human interaction. But what he's been able to do is take what took him a week to do, editing podcasts, producing podcasts, cutting down, writing, taking my words and creating smaller little snippets of them to create social media posting, taking my pictures and pictures of me or pictures of our dogs and using them at the right times within post. It has taken that, at least on a number of tasks, at least half his tasks. It's probably not half the work out of the way. So we're not using AI to generate Pam.
Right.
We're using AI to magnify its impact. And I think that's the real distinction to me. Like, I get scared to death now. I almost watch every video I see and go, because we've actually created an AI Pam. Like, he's created a voice. He's created a me moving like this. Like, I could literally do an AI video now and you could put any words in my mouth.
Wow.
Right? That terrifies me. We really just did it so we knew how it works.
Yeah.
Because now I can watch a video on YouTube or anywhere and go, oh, yeah, that's AI generated. That's not really so-and-so. Not that that's wrong or right. I'm not judging it.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. It's not for my brand.
Right.
But there are plenty of brands it makes sense for. But he's able to do everything more quickly. Now, one thing I will tell you is kind of cool about this, to give you an example of where I think AI is incredibly productive, is, this, you're a podcaster. You flub stuff, right? You'll flub an intro. It's great for some takeout reels, right? Which I love blooper reels. I make him crazy. I'm like, I want a blooper reel every month. But like, say that I stumble and say, instead of Hillary Gale, I say, Hannah. So Hannah, blah, 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 blah. Well, in his editing with the right tool, he can literally take the script, change the word from Hannah to Hillary, and it will use my voice and say, instead of it, when you see it, you're going to see Hillary and you're not going to know the difference.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah. So to me, it's using it with brand alignment. Like, and my brand is, you're getting me. If my brand weren't that, if my brand were, I want to crank out as many knowledgeable entrepreneurs as I can, and here's the training, I'm going AI Pam all the way. Right. But that's not who we are.
Right. Right. No, this is really great. And I totally agree with you. I think that using AI and using it strategically to be in brand alignment, it is still a very human first approach to marketing.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, you're giving his name is Francis.
Yep.
Francis gets time back, and that's who can put a cost on that. So
absolutely. And it's very efficient. I mean, honestly, none of us, not finance people, not bookkeepers, accountants, tax marketers, are going to survive the next 10 years if we don't embrace it. And the question is, how do we embrace it and also protect ourselves from the folks, just like there are scammers out there for everything. There are going to be scammers out there with AI. And, just it all comes down to working with who you know, love, and trust.
Yeah. Well, I'm really interested, and this will be kind of my last question before we wrap up. But I'm really interested to hear you've talked about your map quite a bit. Where does that live? Is that something that is
it's on MindMaster?
Oh, it's on MindMaster?
It's literally a mind map on MindMaster.
Oh, okay.
And I've put a picture of it out there. I mean, I kind of blurred the words, but I put a picture of kind of what it looks like. And the very interesting thing, remember the woman I told you I talked to when I was in the hospital with my mom?
Right.
If you look at my mind map, it's like me and, some stuff, but then it's her and literally the rest of my business.
Wow.
Literally the rest of my business. And every one of us first of all, there are a ton of us out there who are those nodes, right? There are people who really live as those nodes. Everybody needs one of those nodes.
Yeah.
And once you've kind of got one, everything else can explode from it. And the only way it happens is genuine friendship.
Mm,
It doesn't happen because I pay her $20 and say, go introduce me to somebody.
right.
But yeah, it is pretty funny. I laugh and tell her all the time. Yeah, it's kind of self-defeating. I didn't need me. I just needed you.
You just needed that one person to really
I
go
mean,
through
those
the
those
motions.
tails go. Let me tell you one other cool thing about this map. Those tails go out in some cases 20 deep
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
What I do every day is grab a hold of any one tentacle at the end, and I think about that person, and I go all the way back down the line to
Mhm.
where I first met them,
Mhm.
and kind of do a little gratitude for every person along there. So it
Mm.
reawakens in you kind of, oh, so-and-so, we did this
Mm.
together. You lose a lot of those memories. If you think about it, hundreds of people you meet, this gives me the chance to make sure I don't ever forget the ones who've become meaningful.
Right. Wow, this is so cool. And I can just see Pam in retirement. I mean, you don't seem like a person who enjoys doing nothing, so I can't
Yeah,
really
no,
picture you
won't that
retire.
happen?
But I can just see Pam in retirement just kind of studying this map with this just mass, and that just speaks to, all the impacts that you've had as well. And I think that's a
Yeah.
really cool
Actually, you
project.
made me think. Maybe what I'll do is have it blown up and like put on a wall somewhere in the house.
You might need it like to go through a whole room, like paper
Yeah,
the
I
wall.
like that. Yeah, wrap around there, replace this darn green paint.
Well, you've inspired me to maybe start my own. This is a really cool
Awesome.
idea. Yeah, I really, really like this idea. So, Pam, is there anything else that we haven't talked about yet that you think is maybe pertinent to our conversation, or anything that you want to just highlight and come back to before we wrap up?
I mean, one message that I always want to give when I have the opportunity is if you're an entrepreneur, any kind of business, whether you're just you call yourself just a consultant or all the way down the road and you're, Amy Porterfield, every single person out there has what they think is the most embarrassing money story. If you're in a room with 100 entrepreneurs and there's somebody up on stage and there's somebody clearing the plates, every one of them thinks their story is the most embarrassing story.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor and put financial shame on the shelf. You are
Mm-hmm.
not alone, and your story is not the worst one. I promise. That's always a message I want to get out there.
Such a great message to end on. I personally can't wait to order your books. I think they
Yay!
sound, yes, thank you so much for sharing about those. Where's the best place that people can find you if they want to learn more about you or reach out to
So
you?
2 places. I'm Pam S as in Sam Prior. So PAMSPRIOR everywhere on social,
Okay.
except TikTok. On TikTok, I'm Pam Prior. And then my website is pamprior.com.
Great. Well, I will link to all of those profiles and your website in the show notes so people can go find them right there. And
Awesome.
Pam, thank you so much for everything that you shared today. This was a wonderful conversation.
Oh, thank you. This was a blast. I really appreciate your inviting me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. If you're eager to market your business in a way that feels good and actually gets results, sign up for the Finance Marketing Podcast newsletter in the show notes so you never miss another episode. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening app and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you back here next Friday.